And this is Milan, a city that appreciates history, architecture and pressure. And pressure is what Liverpool are under right now, battling more than just a dip in form. They face an Inter side who are focused, clinical and moving with the kind of momentum that wins titles. The iconic San Siro will be deafening tonight. The Nerazzurri flying high in the Champions League, and they can probably smell blood. But this isn't just a game for Arne Slot's side, it's an opportunity for some kind of reset, a chance to silence the noise, push past the pain and remind Europe who we are. Bring on your Internazionale. We're hopeful, and it's another huge European night. Liverpool are at Inter Milan in match day 6, if you're counting, of the Champions League so far. We're live on LFC TV and all red video until kick-off, where we have audio commentary for you of the full game from the San Siro stadium a little bit later. And in the studio tonight, we have Liverpool legends Phil Thompson and Gary Gillespie, along with European football expert Kev Hatchard as well. There's quite a lot to talk about ahead of this one, but we will start at the San Siro, where Rob Jones has got details of that Liverpool lineup tonight. Rob.
Very good evening to you. Welcome to one of Europe's grand old stages. The San Siro is all set for a meeting between two teams with 9 major European titles between them. But at the moment, either side of that crucial line of the 8 automatic qualifiers into the round of 16. Inter in good shape to go through automatically. Liverpool with a little bit of work to do, particularly after that shock defeat to PSV Eindhoven on match day 5. Arne Slot arrives here without one key player. We know all about that, but a few others are missing as well due to injury. And Slot makes 4 changes from the side that started the 3-3 draw against Leeds at Ellen Road on Saturday evening. 2 in defence as Joe Gomez and Andy Robertson come into the team. Alexis McAllister and Alexander-Isak start as well. So dropping out is Conor Bradley, Milos Kerkez, the injured Cody Gakpo and Florian Wirtz. So the Liverpool team in full. Alisson will keep goal tonight with just 3 clean sheets for the Reds in all competitions this season. The 2 fullbacks are changed with Gomez and Robertson. Starting either side of Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate, who both scored when Liverpool last played in this stadium against AC Milan on match day 1 last season. It looks as though Arne Slot will continue with that diamond formation in midfield once again, with Ryan Gravenberch at the base, then Alexis McAllister, who scored the winner in Liverpool's last Champions League victory over Real Madrid alongside Curtis Jones, and then Dominik Szoboszlai, who got the 3rd goal, unfortunately not the winner in that draw at Leeds on Saturday evening. And it means for just the 2nd time Alexander-Isak and Ugo Ekitike start together in a Liverpool match. Ekitike fresh from ending an 8-game drought without a goal, with 2 in West Yorkshire on Saturday evening. The only other game that Isak and Ekitike have started together, a 5-1 victory against Eintracht Frankfurt, also in the Champions League. Just 8 substitutes named by Arne Slot this evening, 2 of them goalkeepers, 3 of them teenaged. It means just 3 outfield players with experience, you would say, for Arne Slot to turn to if he needs them. I caught up with the Liverpool head coach before the game amongst the challenges that are facing, and particularly fitness-wise, heading into this huge fixture in Milan tonight. Arne, at the moment there's a lot of challenges for you. Is one of them reminding and emphasising that there are positives coming out of the performances, while also recognising that you're not where you want to be?
No, we're definitely not where we want to be. But indeed, there are also positives to take from last week. That's never easy if you concede the free after you've been 2-0 up in extra time by a set piece. So, but these players are top professionals, and they've experienced. They have so much experience that they know they have to play every 3 games. So, I assume that they are ready, but that's not the only challenge. The other challenge is that we don't have lots of players available, and a few of them are just coming back from injury. So it's that's a challenge on itself as well.
How much inspiration can you take when you come to face Inter from the way you played against Real Madrid?
Oh, that's already a while ago, and I don't think you can compare these teams with each other. Different playing style, different manager, away game instead of a home game. But maybe that's the comparison to two teams with a great history and two teams that have been a force in the Champions League for the last few years. So it's a great stadium to play in, a very difficult and good team to play against. But that's also for us to show that we are still a team to reckon with.
And we'll be back with full details of the Inter Milan team a little bit later on, but it is just one change for Christian Chivu from the side that beat Como at the weekend, with Henrik Mkhitaryan replacing Peter Zielinski. As Liverpool eye a little bit of history tonight, they're looking to become just the second team after Bayern Munich to win 3 away games in the San Siro. It is a crucial match as Liverpool look to keep their hopes alive of finishing in those 8 automatic qualification places.
Thank you very much indeed, Rob. We will firm that one up for you, the Inter Milan team, a little bit later on. I'm sure you've been saturated by who isn't there for Liverpool this weekend, and it's been, well, this night even, this week has been an emotional one for all Liverpool fans, hasn't it? But the most powerful response in situations like this is a response, Tomo, and it's all set up for one tonight.
Yeah, it's been quite unique, hasn't it? It's been different for us, and we do have to concentrate on the football. We do have to concentrate and make sure we do our club proud, and that's what it's about. It's a huge fixture. Inter Milan sitting top in Italy, big win at the weekend. Obviously, everything seems to be going well. Everything seems to be difficult for Liverpool, but that is what the players, and that's what you've got to be made of. It doesn't. I don't care who you are. It never runs smooth, no matter who you play for. There's always going to be difficult times, and it's a moment and a time for our players to stand up, be together, be united. Did I say united? And just be who we are and show the character of what we possess.
You'll have been there so many times, backs against the wall. It sometimes can evoke something special.
Yeah, I think it's when you need your big players to stand up, and I think it's no coincidence that he brings back Andrew Robertson at left full back. I think he's a big influence in the dressing room, so I think there's no question about that. That's probably the reason that he's brought him back. Virgil van Dijk is obviously as a skipper, has a massive role to play, but it's a big game against a really good side. And it's always a tough place to go. I think it's 18 games undefeated in the Champions League here for Inter. So it's it doesn't bode well for Liverpool. But in saying that, if there's ever a team that can bounce back and get a result against all the odds, we've seen it done many a time before. It's Liverpool Football Club.
Still plenty in there, Tomo. We're having a debate in here about whether it might be a 4-4-2 diamond, whether it might be a 4-3-3, but probably the standout thing is that Isak and Ekitike start together.
Well, it is, and I'm certainly glad Ekitike has stayed in the team. I think it would be extremely harsh for him to be out of it. He's been that one player out of all the signings who we as fans have pinned our hopes on. He's looked really good, and it was probably a bit harsh when he was left out. I do like his movement. I like his tenacity. You've seen him for the goal against Leeds, the way he puts his foot in for it. That was not easy, and I think having the two of them in there does give us more goals. You would like to think more of a goal threat. I would like to think they will have a bit more possession, which will give us a bit more space. But once again, it's another team who play 5 at the back, who we find it very, very difficult to play against. But if we change our shape, it will be a little bit different. So it'll cause them a few problems, obviously not knowing what we're going to play.
What do you expect with what you see there, Kev? Do you expect that 4-3-3 that Liverpool have been so traditional with, or a slight change to counter what Inter might have tonight?
I think it gives you that flexibility with Ekitike in the team, because if you look at what he did with Eintracht Frankfurt, he naturally will move out to that left-hand side sometimes. So you may have a situation where Szoboszlai is pushing up on that right-hand side and he'll naturally drift out to the left. What I'm really looking to see, though, is him and Isak dovetailing and kind of being fluid, having those kind of rotations. Because if you look at when Ekitike was at his peak, really, with Eintracht Frankfurt, who was that with? Omar Marmoush. Those two had a really good click in the first half of last season. So that's what you're starting to hope you see with those two. Bit of understanding, but of course they haven't played a huge amount together.
Let's take a look at the table, Gary, as well. The defeat, obviously, against PSV was a blow. It leaves Liverpool just outside those top spots at the moment as well. Inter in fourth, as you can see. How does that affect what Liverpool have to do from here, do you think?
Well, we're just talking off here that, I mean, Liverpool, when the draw was announced, I did look at it and think we've got 4 really tough away games, to be quite honest with you. You know, I think we finished this one and then obviously we go to Marseille. Yeah, you probably say Marseille are not a fantastic side, but it's a really, really difficult place to go and play your football. So it was a massive blow that we lost the game against PSV. I think that was probably down as a banker from Liverpool's fans, thinking you're going to get the 3 points from that. But listen, we found ourselves in a really good position last season at top of the table. It didn't pan out. We actually drew PSG for in the knockout stages of the round of 16. So there's still an awful lot to play for. Whether we make the top 8 is going to be difficult, I think. But you'll still make the top. We'll still make the top 24, and then it's how we progress from there.
Yeah,
but
it's not all lost, is it?
It's not all lost. I mean, you can still make it. I mean, who knows? As I said before, going to a place like this, sometimes it can lift you and give you a little bit, I don't know, just the boost of confidence, the lift in confidence that you need. And if you get a result here, then you're going into the game against Brighton at the weekend full of confidence. And then who knows? It might be a trigger. It might be a catalyst for us to turn our season around.
We've got big players, Pete, who have played in a lot of sorts of Champions League games. It's a fantastic fixture for it. It's one of those places. I never got to play as many games as I played. I don't know if you played there, Gary. No, I didn't. It's always been one of those great settings. So even for all those lads who were going, no, you know what? It was one of my first.
You two were friends.
It was one of my first European nights. Sitting in the Kemlyn Road, right in the front row, bringing the FA Cup round. It's one of my great memories of it. So Inter Milan holds this great mystique. They were probably the best team in the world back in 1965. But it is a great moment. And for our players to be going, yes, they're going to be up for it, but for our lads to play in the San Siro is a big moment in the career.
But plenty talked about your famous team of 82, I think it was, wasn't it? That lead or trailing by such a big margin, and the players out on the pitch at the moment who are looking around and maybe in that position now where they say that, perhaps we need to just raise it another 10%, and we might just get there for this big game tonight.
It is. There was massive question marks against that team, and we were there, and it was literally, come on, boys, because we were a proper team, as this team is, and it's, come on, we're better than this. We can rally, we can be good, and we went on a run, which is possible. We've seen other teams in the Premier League doing it, but it's at any given time you can hit on a run. We picked on the small bits of fortune. We've gone 3 games unbeaten going into this game. But you can't, it can be there, and you just got to rally. And with big teams, you get the big players, and Gary mentioned the big players in the side. They're the ones whose voices have got to be heard loudest. Come on, lads, let's do it. Everybody's looking for us to fail. This is the most precious moment when we can pull together and we can make sure that we are still in there with a shout in the Champions League, with a shout in the Premier League.
You just look at that player there, Kev, as well, Hugo Ekitike. I remember when we signed him, and the first thing you said was, you're going to absolutely love him. I mean, there's the pressure that's on an experienced dressing room right now, but he must be feeling almost on top of the world that he's managed to come into the Premier League, make the impact straight away. He's got his goal like he did at the weekend, and he might feel like all bets are off, and this is my occasion. This is my big stage tonight.
Yeah, and he's been waiting for this for a while, because the thing to remember about him is that he went to PSG probably too early in his career. He'd done really well for Reims. You knew he was a really exciting player. He's always been ambitious. He's always been somebody who backed himself, not in a bad way, but really, really felt that he could hit that top level. PSG was just the wrong time for him. They were absolutely stacked with the talent that they had, but he's gone the long way round. He went to Frankfurt, he grasped that opportunity, and he's absolutely earned this move, and he doesn't look out of place at this level. He started to play for France, he started to look good for them. He'll be hoping between now and the end of the season, he's earned a place in Didier Deschamps' squad, and I think that can absolutely happen.
Let's look back at Leeds at the weekend. We can move on to Ekitike in a second. Just in the whole, though, Gary, how do you feel the weekend will have affected this group of players for Liverpool?
It's difficult to know. I think it's always a body blow when you lose late goals, and certainly Liverpool have lost a fair share of late goals this season so far. To be 2-0 up and then obviously get pegged back to 2-2, and then to think you score a great goal. It was a great move, like Szoboszlai scores the third goal. You think well, that's it, you're going to see it out. But again, it's that failure at the set plays that have cost us so dearly. And if we can get that right, it just seems to me that we've lost an awful lot of goals from set plays on second phase things, and it always seems to be at the far post for some reason. I think I was going to try and have a look and see how many goals we've actually conceded at the far post. We used to call it like the Pomo position of maximum opportunity. Back in the day, that was like pretty much a coaching thing. But we certainly got caught like where the 9 minutes came from. I'm not 100% sure. Well, I don't know whether that would have made a difference or not. But I think, you know, as a coach, as a manager, and especially as the way the team is at this moment in time, you have to look to try and take as many positives out of the game as possible. And the positives are, you go away from home, you score 3 goals, 3 good goals as well. And like we didn't lose, we got a point. But I thought the penalty was a bit harsh as well. You see there sliding in. Anytime you go to ground, you've got like the opportunity to give the referee to give you a penalty against you. But no, I think, as I say, try and grasp the positives and forget the negatives.
Just when going back on the set pieces and that corner kicks, what would you think of? How would you? I know.
I think the problem we've got, teams have obviously sussed this out. You take Virgil van Dijk out of the equation, then for me, we lack a little bit of like self-belief and going ahead. I've seen Gravenberch. I mean, Gravenberch must be what, 6'2", 6'3". He's a big tall lad. Gakpo the same, big tall lad. I mean, they've got to be a little bit more aggressive when they're defending situations from set plays. I know it might not be in their mentality because they're forward thinking players, but like when it's like comes to the crunch like that, you've got to have that sort of like, it's me that's going to win it. It's not you. It's me, and like, you know, that determination has to be there for like however long the game lasts.
I don't think there's one individual. I think it's a collective, and I agree with you, Gary. Is that some of the players are not going through the motions, but they're living in hope that they miss rather than we and attack that ball and be positive. But not just that, but then the people who are around are ready, alive and alert to that next ball. It looks as though we get caught unaware. If we don't win the first one, it's like we switch off. Players actually start moving out of positions, start trying to attack. I just feel we got to. I think the word that Gary said was aggressive, wanting to win that ball, not just hoping that I win that ball. There's completely different sides to that.
And that spell's come at a really difficult time, because if you look at the Premier League at the moment, these things go in cycles, these things go in fashions, but what are we seeing at the moment? Loads of focus on set plays, loads of focus on these long throws. We saw that in the Brentford game, that long throw that caused them problems. So I think there's a timing issue here as well, that Liverpool are coming up against teams that want to be aggressive, want to be physical, want to make the most of these set plays. But these things do go in phases and they do end. It's just painful until they do.
The other side to it, Kev, is that a lot of teams are going long ball.
Yeah.
They're going long ball. I couldn't believe the Sunderland game, and 20 metres just to the right-hand side, first free kick, the goalkeeper took it. And the centre-backs all went
up. And
he
can hit it.
And he just diagonal ball into the back. And you went, oh my goodness, where has the game evolved? We all had this purest tiki-taka football. Now all of a sudden it's gone backwards. Set pieces, you know, the long throws, the corner kicks, the free kicks, everybody's working on them. But everybody's going, the lesser teams are going more long. And then all of a sudden you've got centre-backs who are racing up to cause havoc and try and win second balls.
But also what you're doing is you're taking away one of Liverpool's traditional big weapons in the last few years, which is the high press. Because you can't press high if you're playing over that press or you're going direct. And we saw it, Arsenal-Bayern in the Champions League recently. One of the things that Bayern do brilliantly is press really high and press in numbers. So what did Arsenal do? They went long to Marino. Bayern couldn't work it out in that second half, found it really, really difficult. So it's just about adjusting, and it's about finding different ways to win. It'll be interesting
to think, because Inter Milan, I think, are not like a normal like Italian, as you would expect to sit back. They will like try and press us pretty high up the pitch. But it'll be interesting if we have that now to say, well, let's not get caught in like silly areas of the pitch. Let's go like a little bit longer. You've got like the likes of Ekitike, you've got the likes of like Isak to try and hit, and obviously the pace and the energy of Szoboszlai down that right hand side possibly.
We'll get into them in a bit more detail in a second. First, let's get back to the San Siro. Rob mentioned just before, just one change for them. Let's get their 11 confirmed now with Rob.
Well, Inter Milan going very nicely once again in the Champions League last season. They were 90 minutes away from a fourth European Cup before being thrashed 5-0 by Paris Saint-Germain in the final last campaign. This time around it was 4 wins from 4 before their first defeat came against Atletico Madrid on match day 5. Since then, Christian Chivu's team have responded well in the league with 3 straight victories, scoring 11 goals in the process. The most recent of those coming against Como at the weekend. It is just one change from Chivu from that match. Henrik Mkhitaryan, who's played against Liverpool 6 times for 3 different clubs, comes into the team in place of the Pole Peter Zielinski. So let's take you through the Inter team in full. Jan Sommer will keep goal. He turns 37 next week. He's conceded just once in his last 5 matches. It's AAB as the 3 centre-halves for Inter. Manuel Akanji, who Liverpool will know well from tussles against Manchester City over the years, alongside Francesco Acerbi and Alessandro Bastoni, one of 3 survivors from the last meeting between these clubs in March 2022. Federico Di Marco and Luis Enrique will be the 2 wing-backs tonight. And then that midfield 3 of Hakan Çalhanoğlu, Nicolo Barella, the former Italian Euros winner, alongside Mkhitaryan, who scored against Liverpool for Borussia Dortmund in that famous 4-3 game back in April 2016. And then the front 2 for Inter tonight, Marcus Thuram, who has 3 in his last 2, having gone 8 games without a goal. And then the leading Inter Milan goal scorer in the Champions League of all time, the Argentinian Lautaro Martinez, who has 25 Champions League goals to his name. Well, these two head coaches, Christian Chivu and Arne Slot, go a long way back. It is some 22 years since they came up against each other as players. Chivu for Ajax, Arne Slot for NAC Breda. Now they are managers. One with the team in decent shape at the moment, better than decent, in fact. 14 wins in the last 17 matches for Inter Milan. As I said, well placed in the Champions League, just 1 point behind the leaders Napoli in Serie A. For Arne Slot's Liverpool, there is a lot of work to do. He has seen some small steps in the right direction, some signs of positivity in a recent 3-game unbeaten run. But this would be a huge stride in the right direction if Liverpool could boost their automatic qualification hopes with a win at San Siro here this evening.
Yeah, it certainly will be, and a lot going on at Inter. Kev Hatchard is with us, by the way. He's a European football expert. You know, the Champions League twice in the last 3 seasons, newish manager as well, and they'll want to erase the memories of that humiliation in the final as well. There's lots they need to aim for this year.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting about them is that you looked at the summer and Simone Inzaghi had been so influential as the coach, went to Saudi football, and you wondered how they were going to do. You felt, were they getting to the end of that cycle? Because they'd had 2 Champions League finals in 3 seasons, had come up just short against Man City. I thought they played really well in that final. And then Paris, I think they were out on their feet by the time they got to that final, because they've been battling Napoli all the way in the Serie A title race and they lost. Got to the semi-finals of the Coppa Italia, lost to Milan, which you don't do if you're Inter. And then had that final, and so you felt, okay, there might naturally be a step back where they try and rebuild the team. Actually, Chivu's done brilliantly, because there were question marks. He's Inter through and through, was a really good player for them. He's been a youth coach there as well. But in terms of being a senior boss, he'd only really been at Parma, and he managed to keep them up. But that was it, really. So what he's done that's very impressive, I think, after a slightly shaky start, he's been able to get that consistency. They look similar to Inzaghi's team, but they play more quickly through the lines and they're more aggressive. Gary mentioned it already. Really aggressive, high up. They want to press. They want to make it difficult for teams to play out. And it's worked really, really well, and they're part of that title race again.
And will they expect that they are there or thereabouts in this Premier competition as well, in the Champions League, come the end of the season?
Yeah, I think so. I think they will feel they can have a deep run. I think the priority is getting the Scudetto back, so they'll want to win the league. I feel they are the best team in Italy and have been for a while now. Probably should have won the league last season, really. So that will sting them a bit. So they'll want to win that. But they will feel that they can go deep in the competition. I think it was really interesting tonight, actually. They've lost some big games domestically. And they lost to Atletico as well in the Champions League in the last match day. They need a big win against a big team, just to underline what Kivu's doing. So I think if they can do that, they'll feel that's a massive step forward.
You mentioned the manager there in dispatches. Tell us about him then. What are you kind of looking for long term from him? Is he someone that's there for that long term, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they brought him in for a few reasons. The first reason was the Inter fans have that bond with him. He was an excellent player for them at a really high level. And you then look at what he's done with young players. So he was a youth coach at Inter. They want to bring through young guys like Pio Esposito, who's a young Italian international striker. They want to bring him through the academy. Anjoan Boni, who we work with at Parma, he's been signed. They want to develop this talent, and part of the business model is going to be to sell some of those guys on, but also keep some of them, like they've kept Bastoni and Barella and people like that. So I think that's the plan. They really like how he carries himself. They really like the international element of him in the sense that he speaks really good English. He's very comfortable with the media. I think so far so good for him in his first season.
League form will come into it, Tomo. You know, the fact that they are, and went briefly top at the weekend as well. You know, Liverpool can't call on that at the moment. They're not a team that domestically are doing particularly well, so they'll be the team going into this with confidence.
Oh, absolutely. I think we've sort of known that for the last few days since our Leeds game. But you look at that Como result there, and I was just having a look at the stats behind it. I was incredible because Inter only had 8 attempts on goal. 7 of them were on target. And Como had 14. So, you know, only 4 on target. So it wasn't there. And Como had more possession and all that. So it says, obviously, at times, you've got a chance. It's not all one way. And this was an absolute 4-0 battering. Como were always in the game. So it fills me full of hope, is that we can maybe have more possession, but we've got to defend better in transition when that happens, because as Kevin just said there, the press, they're like maniacs. When they get that opportunity, they will hound us.
What was interesting was that they kind of set the trap for Como because they knew Cesc Fabregas would play the way he always plays, which is to try and have possession, try and dictate the game. What was interesting was the first quarter of an hour, they were hyper aggressive, like trying to upset them, trying to upset the rhythm. And Kivu said in the second half, we tried to have a bit of a breather because we only had that 1-0 lead. And that's when Como started getting back in the game. But then they found those extra gears as the game wore on. They were able to blow them away 4-0. So, as Phil says, there was a stage where you thought Como might get back into this, but they were so clinical in attack. And that they have loads of players who are really calm in front of goal. So that is a real problem.
It was getting that second goal, and then obviously later on, from the 80th minute, to get the third and fourth. But you get the idea that Como were chasing the game then.
Yeah.
You get picked off.
And the second's from a set piece, which they are really adept at.
Thanks, Kev.
They are really dangerous.
I was going to ask you about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
To calm down a bit.
We're looking for the positives, Kev.
Trying to get all the bad news out of the way, and then we can move past. But I think that's exactly what you were talking about earlier on with set plays. It's about aggression, and it's about matching them because they will be super aggressive, super physical. So that's how Liverpool need to approach it to try and match those levels.
Let's take a look at the Champions League results, Gary, with this as well. 4th in that Champions League table at the moment. The list of the Champions League results here. I mean, you know, they can lose big games, and that is probably, you know, etched within all of this, that they might just underestimate Liverpool tonight.
Well, I think the one thing that you would say from looking from these fixtures, and listen, I know like every game in the Champions League is a tough game, but when you look at it, like Ajax, Slavia Prague, Union, Karat, like Almaty, they're not the most like accomplished of like European like foes. And the one big game that you would say would be Atletico, which they obviously lost. So I think going into this game, I think if Liverpool can grasp on that, you know, we are a big side, like our history is based on like on European football. It might be the case that like Inter maybe looking at us and thinking, well, they're a big side like Liverpool, but like they haven't performed that well against the big side. They obviously lost the derby. I think they were probably the better side in the derby, losing. I think it was a late penalty. It was a penalty kick that they conceded. So I think there is hope for Liverpool going into this game. I think they have to have that belief that they can get a result here, and which I'm sure that like they're more than capable of doing.
Beat Arsenal there last year at home.
They are a team that are capable of matching anyone, But I do think there is still this little, not inferiority complex, not quite that strong, but I do still think there's that question mark. They are really good at negotiating their way through European ties. They beat Bayern in the quarters last season, which was, I felt, a really big step forward. The win over Barcelona was absolutely outstanding. But still that thing of, are they consistently showing up against the top teams? Because yes, they went away at Roma this season in Serie A, but they lost to Juventus in what was a crazy game, lost to Milan in the derby. So certainly under Kivu, that question mark is still there. So whereas we talk about some of the issues with Liverpool right now, Inter's form is good, but they're not the finished article. And Kivu said that after the game in Madrid. He said, look, we need to be more clinical. We need to be a bit more streetwise because we've been done by a corner really late on in a game we shouldn't really have lost.
We are going to continue to build up to the big game as well. Alisson Becker on the way a little bit later as well. But we are losing our viewers right now on social media channels as well. So if you're watching us for free at the moment, then there are plenty of prompts elsewhere to see how you can stay with us right the way through out tonight as well. Just follow the promos in vision right now. liverpoolfc.com/watch is how you subscribe to the big services as well. So, a little bit later on, we have the thoughts of Alisson Becker, as mentioned. Steve Hunter and Neil Mellor will be providing you, we hope, with lively commentary tonight. You know how excited Steve Hunter can get when things go well. We're hoping it's a really excited Steve Hunter tonight. And then that we're all sat here smiling come 10 o'clock with all the reaction from the San Siro players queuing up to speak to us. Yeah, I'm trying to encapsulate what is a positive feeling for all of this. And then, of course, you'll be staying up late. Wherever you get your podcast, that will be available a little bit later, regardless of the result reaction podcast. And then the chance to relive this evening's action as well. Full match replay coming for you a little bit later on. And then Neil Mellor will be here from 6 o'clock. Looks like that, doesn't it? Yeah. So, lots going on. Here is the team, by the way, that take on the mighty Inter Milan for Liverpool tonight as well. 4 changes displayed by Arne Slot, who's had his challenges this week, of course, and it does display 2 changes in those full-back positions. Andrew Robertson and Joe Gomez go in. Also worth noting as well that Conor Bradley tries to negotiate that suspension tightrope again in Champions League. Should he be booked tonight, he would miss Marseille. Same centre-backs, and then we can throw all of those midfielders in the mix and wonder what kind of shape Liverpool will go with. But I suppose the overall headline is that Ekitike and Alexander-Isak start together. 2 goalkeepers you will notice on the bench, as they have had a couple of challenges where illness and injury is concerned as well. No Cody Gakpo, no Chiesa either tonight as well. It's a vital game in the Champions League. This season hasn't been an easy one. 3 wins from 5 games so far. Here's a reminder on how it's all gone so far.
The beautiful road to Budapest starts here. Liverpool are back in the UEFA Champions League. It'd be nice to get off to a flyer. It is Salah, and it's deflected, and it is in. And Liverpool are off to a flyer. Gravenberg, Salah goes again and scores! Salah's at it again. And Marcus Llorente has scored against Liverpool. Pablo Barrios. Konate on an effort, which is deflected, and it's in. Van Dijk! Of course they can do it again! This is Liverpool we're talking about! Matchday 2 brings them to Istanbul, one of the toughest away trips you can have. It's rowdy, it's raucous, the atmosphere is red hot. Ekitike's on the chase, he's run away from the defender, and it's followed up and cleared off the line. Yilmaz. And Clement Turpin penalty. Victor Osimhen. And he went straight down the middle. Florian Wirtz. Ekitike, that's a really good stop by the goalkeeper. Well, there's to be no more time in this huge celebrations in Istanbul. Liverpool have been beaten. It's 2 sides who score a lot. It's 2 sides who've conceded quite a few as well. The shot is low and it's in, and it's Rasmus Christensen who pops up. Robertson will clear. That's a brilliant pass as well. Delivered early for Ekitike against his former club. Fantastic Liverpool goal. Gakpo's corner. And the header is by Virgil van Dijk. Ibrahima Konate can't believe his luck. Another clinical Liverpool counter-attack. Here's Szoboszlai. Oh, that's delightful. It's 5 now for Liverpool. Here we go once again at Anfield as these two titans of this great competition go head-to-head. Szoboszlai, oh, what a save by Courtois. A lot of traffic between him and goal. Shot by Szoboszlai. Liverpool wants a penalty. And he's gone Real Madrid's way, Szoboszlai. He's gone for goal again. Oh my goodness me, that's another astonishing save. And it comes through. What a save by Courtois again. Now, can he find the finisher? In it goes. They can.